My name is Alphonse Gabriel Capone, but the world remembers me simply as Al Capone. Some call me public enemy number one. Others call me the King of Chicago. I suppose they're all correct, depending on how you look at it. But I didn't start out as a king. My beginnings were anything but glamorous. I was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1899, the son of Italian immigrants from Naples. My father, Gabriele, was a barber. My mother, Teresa, a seamstress. We lived in a crowded apartment in a rough neighborhood. From an early age, I learned something important. In America, respect isn't given, it's taken. And if you don't take it, someone else will. I was never much for school. At 14, I quit after punching a teacher who insulted me. Out there, the streets were my classroom, and the gangs were my professors. I started running with small neighborhood crews, learning the trades of protection rackets, petty theft, and hustling. But my real education began when I crossed paths with Johnny Torrio. Smooth, calculated, always in control. He wasn't just another thug, he was a businessman in the shadows. By my late teens, I had joined the notorious 5 Points gang. We ran the saloons, gambling joints, and streets of Manhattan. I worked as a bouncer at the Harvard Inn in Coney Island, where one night a man slashed my face after I made a remark to his sister. 3 deep scars ran from my left ear to my chin. From that day forward, they called me Scarface. I never liked the nickname, but it stuck. In 1920, Torrio called me to Chicago. The timing couldn't have been better. The United States had just passed Prohibition, the so-called noble experiment meant to ban alcohol, but all I saw was opportunity. Where others saw moral reform, I saw rivers of money waiting to flow. Under Torrio's guidance, we built an empire of speakeasies, breweries, and smuggling routes. We brought in whiskey from Canada, rum from the Caribbean, and beer from hidden breweries in Chicago itself. We didn't just sell booze, we sold protection, influence, and the illusion of safety. Every cop, judge, and politician had a price, and I paid them well. But power attracts enemies. Rival gangs tried to muscle in on our territory. The North Side Gang, led by Dean O'Banion and later Bugs Moran, was always looking for a fight. There were shootouts in the streets, ambushes in alleyways, bombings that shook the city awake in the middle of the night. In 1925, Torrio retired after a near-fatal assassination attempt. Suddenly, the entire Chicago operation was mine. I was 26 years old, and I had the city in the palm of my hand. 300 speakeasies, illegal gambling dens, and brothels were under my control. The money poured in, tens of millions a year. To the poor neighborhoods, I was a benefactor. I handed out food during the Depression, paid medical bills, gave toys to children at Christmas. But make no mistake, if you crossed me, your life expectancy dropped to hours. Then came the morning of February 14th, 1929. 7 men from Morin's crew were lined up against a brick wall and riddled with bullets by men dressed as police officers. The newspapers called it the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. The public was horrified. Me, I called it business. They never proved I ordered it, but everyone knew. And in my world, sending a message is more important than keeping your hands clean. I loved the good life, silk suits, diamond jewelry, fine cigars. My parties were legendary. The press couldn't get enough of me. But I wasn't blind. I knew the government was closing in. They couldn't nail me for murder, extortion, or smuggling, so they came after me for something almost laughable: taxes. In 1931, they convicted me of tax evasion. 11 years in federal prison. I started in Atlanta, but when I was accused of running rackets from inside, they shipped me to the Rock, Alcatraz. Cold, damp, and isolated. No influence, no allies. Just the walls and the water. Worse than prison was my health. Syphilis, untreated for years, began eating away at my mind. By the time I was released in 1939, I wasn't the man I had been. My empire was gone. The streets had new kings. I spent my last years in Miami, in a mansion by the sea, sitting on the porch and staring at the horizon. The man who once commanded Chicago could barely remember yesterday. They say crime doesn't pay. I disagree. It paid me very well, but it also charged me everything: my freedom, my health, my empire. I was Al Capone, public enemy number one, the king of Chicago. And even though my crown rusted, my name never died. And that's the end of my story of streets, power, and ambition. Some will remember me as a criminal, others as a man who lived life on his own terms. If you enjoyed this journey through Al Capone's life, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Every like and subscription helps us bring more fascinating stories from the past, stories that history will never forget. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you in the next adventure into the world of crime.